this provision that's tucked in, I think tells us, like, if you care about student debt cancellation, is go time for you. You need to mobilize, and now is the time to organize, to create the political pressure, because in there, tucked away, is almost like a little, someone's paving the path. Someone's paving the path. Someone said, student loans, student loans, student loans. Let's talk about student loans, because I found something very interesting in this bill. Now, before everyone gets ahead of themselves, there is not student loan cancellation in this bill, but there is a provision that feels like an Easter egg, which I think gives us some hope, because not only are college students going to get, stimulus checks that they didn't get last year, but I noticed, and some people noticed, that there is a tax provision tucked away that says if your student loans get canceled, that cancellation, you don't have to pay taxes on that cancellation. Which, in other words, you wouldn't have to, it wouldn't be processed in like, as though, it would not be, if your student loans get canceled, it will not be treated as though, the government gave you money for you to pay off your loan, so that you would have to pay taxes on that. So like, let's say you had, several $1,000s in student loan debt, you wouldn't pay taxes on the cancellation for that. Now, there's no student debt cancellation in the bill. So this provision that's tucked in, I think tells us, like, if you care about student debt cancellation, is go time for you. You need to mobilize, and now is the time to organize, to create the political pressure, because in there, tucked away, is almost like a little, someone's paving the path. Someone's paving the path. And I can't claim credit for that provision. If you want, I can go into some of my specific contributions to this bill as a lawmaker. In fact, I will get into one of those a little bit later, because it's part of money that you can get, additional funds that you can get. But progressives are looking out for you. And by the way, this is the benefit of electing a movement of progressives to Congress, because when there's so few of us, like, if it's just, and this is the benefit, for example, of expanding the squad, because when there's just 4 of us, there's only so much we can do, right? There's only physically so many amendments that we can introduce, and people will say, why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Because we're human beings with 24 hours in a day. And so when you elect more progressive members to Congress who are not financed by big money, who are not financed by lobbyists, when you pitch in, small dollar donations, you get people who are looking out for everyday working people. And so I didn't have the bandwidth on this, because I was working on unemployment, I was working on adding adult dependents, I was working on FEMA funeral assistance, which we'll get into, but we don't have to rely on one person to do everything. We've got people that are willing, the more progressives we get, the more progress we get. And so someone was looking out and included that, which paves the way for us to fight for student loan forgiveness and not have it, hit you on the back end in terms of getting taxed on that potential forgiveness. So that is a very important update on student loans that I think is really important. And I think it's good news. I think it's good news, and it's a positive update and progress in the fight on student loans.